addiction, no longer trapped. The hells of addiction, free me at last. The hells of addiction, no longer trapped. The hells of addiction, free me at last. Hello everyone, my name is Carmel Gilbert, writer, editor, and self-publisher of the book The Hells of Addiction. The Hells of Addiction is an autobiography of my life story while being addicted to alcohol for over 30 years. And today's story time I will be discussing my relationships, alcohol versus heroin. Okay, it seemed like every guy that I have dated was either an alcoholic or was, on heroin or both. I suffered with low self-esteem. I had, at one point, I had 6 children at 25. I just woke up one morning and, realized that I made such of a mess of my life. And when you have 6 children, it's, hard to, well, find a mate. There's really no room for romance when you're 25, young, with, a lot of children. It seemed like every guy I ever dated was unemployed, sneaky, and manipulated me. But being as though I was looking for love in all the wrong places, I guess, I got what I was looking for. I was willing to accept pretty much anybody at one point in my life because I was lonely. I was suffering living in the past. I was drowning in the bottle. I just could not pull myself out of that situation. And I thought that, having a man in my life would complete me, but I was wrong. I pretty much went through the abuse thing, domestic violence, leaving me, stealing from me. Just the list goes on and on. I had dated a guy one time that I just could not believe that, I ever dated him. Once you come out of that funk and you can see clearly, like within your sobriety, and you look back on your life and you say, wow, well, actually, that's what I said. I could not believe that I dated this particular guy because he just wasn't my type. But I got to the point in my life that I just settled for anything, and was taken pretty much through the ringer. Um, Heroin addiction, I never indulged in heroin or crack cocaine or straight coke or anything like that. So I was kind of green to that method of addiction. Like I said in my last story time, my mother was a crack addict and I could see what that was doing to her, but I didn't really, my mother wasn't never really around. I never seen her geek. I never seen her beg. I never seen her look bad. She was very intelligent. So we just went along with, the program. We like I said in my last video, we didn't talk back, we didn't suck teeth, we didn't do anything of that nature. And whatever my mother said went, even as adults. The only thing I feared other than God was my mother. So when I would bring my boyfriends around her as an adult, she would just look at me and say, how could you date somebody like that? He's a bum, he's this, he's that, And in my mind, I kind of knew that she wasn't lying, but I don't know if you guys ever went through the low self-esteem thing, but you cannot see the forest from the trees. when you fall in love with somebody or you think you're in love with somebody, that pretty much just, that rational thinking just pretty much, goes out the window. And you wound up in a worse situation than you was before you got into, the relationship. I guess you meet a guy and everything, and you know that he's an addict, whether it's smoking marijuana, popping pills. He is not for you. He is not for you. I mean, I just cannot stress that enough. He will bring you down. I had a boyfriend that would beat me constantly. Um, I just could not believe that when he was on heroin, um, you can pretty much say anything to him. I mean, you can call him a mother effer. You know what I'm trying to say. You can call him a B. You can call him a punk. And he wouldn't do nothing. He would just sit there and nod. But when he didn't have that drug in his system, you couldn't even look at him without him jumping on you, beating you. I had one boyfriend that I had received my taxes one year, and I was working at University Hospital, and I came home, and he asked me to buy him a pill of heroin. I gave him $10, and he sniffed it, came back, sniffed it and everything. And that's another thing, letting guys get, I let, the guys I was dating just get high in my house, but I would not allow them to get high around my children. So, but anyway, I gave him the money. He got the pill. He came in there. He sniffed it. And then he come back to me and say, I'm not high. I'm going to need another $10. And I told him, I said, you not getting another $10 from me. And we got into a great big argument. And he was hitting on me and everything. And my son comes in the room as he's hitting me, jacked him up, threw him up against the wall and said, if you ever hit my mother again, I will kill your ass in here. And that's exactly what he told my boyfriend. Now, this is the thing. When you jump into a relationship without even knowing the person, it's a mask that even women put on. When you first meeting someone, it's like a mask that they have on. You're not really going to see their true colors until you really get to know them. If you jump right in the sack with them and you fall in love more so with that penis instead of the person, you're going to be in a world of trouble. And that's what happened to me. I didn't, I pretty much fell in love with the sex rather than the person because I didn't know the person. And as time went on, that's when I found out he was a heroin user. And by this time, I'm in love and stupid, and just, I mean, and dating anybody that's on heroin, alcohol, or anything would just weigh you down. I could not believe I was in a relationship with this particular guy. And come to find out, at the end of our relationship, I found out that he was gay. And I was really hurt. I was really, really hurt. I immediately got tested. Thank God it was negative. We never had sex again. The same with the next guy. He was a cab driver and stuff. And I didn't know that he was a heroin user. And one day I seen him sniffing dope. Broke my heart because I already knew from prior relationships how that was going to end up. But it's a tough situation, especially when you living in poverty, in the ghetto. Um, a lot of times young people don't understand the dynamics of what they're doing, especially in terms of drugs and alcohol pills. I mean, I see on social media all the time with kids, young adults, adolescents, just popping pills and that just kills me because they can't see what they're doing. And I see young girls on there, having children by different fathers. I went through that. I mean, my self-esteem was so low that I can't even describe how low it was. But as a result of my low self-esteem, I ended up with 6 children. And I raised them to the best of my ability. And they all grown now, and they all know my story. Um, it's like when you in a relationship with a guy that has nothing, don't want nothing. They shows you that. It's signs that they show you in the beginning of a relationship. But you so out. Well, let me say me. I was so caught up, you know, trying to find somebody to love me as opposed to loving myself. I've learned the hard way that you must love yourself in order to love anybody. I mean, if you think that having a man or a woman on drugs is going to work out, it's not. It's not. And I urge you to get out immediately, because you're either going to end up in jail for hurting him or in the hospital from him hurting you. It's just so much that go into it. When you're young, you don't realize how time just fly. You just think you got eternity to live. But one day you're going to wake up and you're going to see what you accomplished. You know, when I woke up that time, I was 25 years old, as I said earlier. I just could not believe, you know, what I made of my life. I couldn't go anywhere. I had a bunch of children, couldn't get a babysitter, couldn't even bribe a babysitter, you know. So it was hard, and I'm just urging you guys that if you're in a relationship with a person that does drugs, get out immediately, because it's not worth it. And happy holidays to you all, and I'll see you on the next story time. Bye bye.